Hello, welcome back to First Thoughts. I'm Simon, this is Justin, and today we're going back to the old mic because the other one didn't work. I'm sorry.
Well, that was a movie.
So today we saw Sinners, the new film written and directed by Ryan Coogler and starring Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld, as well as other people too. But those are the three most important actors in the movie, in my opinion. Yeah. So obviously, the trailers for this have been everywhere, so it's not a spoiler, even though it's kind of how it's told. You would think it would be that this is like a vampire movie. They don't really make that obvious for the first half of this movie, and it's
even longer. It felt
like. Maybe even longer. And it's definitely a slow burn at first, but then it explodes, and it is what you see in the trailer. So before we get into this, Ryan Coogler obviously is most known for Black Panther and the Creed movies.
Right.
Have you seen those, I'm
Yes.
assuming? Okay. I only saw the first Black Panther, never saw the second one. I did see Creed 1 and 2. I could barely tell you anything about Creed 2, though. I don't really remember that one at all. But I remember liking every movie I'd seen by Ryan Coogler so far. But I feel like I liked this more, and it was very different than the other ones. I felt like he was taking a lot more risks as a filmmaker in this movie. How did you feel?
Interesting. So, I have seen both Black Panthers. I thought 2 was very good for losing your main actor, whoever was there for.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I was very surprised with how they kept me interested in that one.
Yeah.
The Creeds, I loved all the Creeds. I'll have to see them again sometime, but I've seen the first 2 like twice, and then I saw the third one. Loved all 3.
The third one wasn't Coogler, though. Michael B. Jordan directed that one.
Oh,
himself. Yeah. Haven't seen it, but I've heard it's good.
I also liked it. I forgot that was Michael B. Jordan's directing.
Michael G. Borden.
Yes.
My favorite writer director.
Well, that was the other one. Michael B. Jordan played one.
Yes,
Michael G. Borden the other,
Yes.
of course. The cousins.
A grade 1-2 punch. Yes.
I don't know if this is my favorite of his films, mostly because I'd probably just have to rewatch some of the Creeds, but or I guess the 2 Creeds, but
Yeah.
this is definitely up there. I like this quite a bit.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to compare because, so Black Panther, it's a Marvel movie, so it's formulaic because it's following the Marvel formula.
Sure.
And then Creed, it's also following the Rocky formula, and they're both good versions of that formula.
Right.
But why I enjoyed this more, I think, is because there was no formula. They were just doing whatever they wanted. And so it was interesting because it kind of felt a little all over the place at times, but I enjoyed where it went because it felt like a really self-serious movie for a while, like the whole gangster aspect, which they don't really delve into too much, but it was kind of reminding me of like those gangster movies or those like period piece movies from like Prohibition era kind of stuff. And then some of the vampire stuff is really unabashedly cheesy and fun, and I wasn't expecting it to go that direction. And then there's the whole thing with the music and how interwoven into the plot that is, and so it did feel kind of all over the place, but I was never really disappointed with any of it. I enjoyed most of it. There was a moment that definitely made me go, what the fuck was that? But other than that one moment, I enjoyed the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I was definitely really enjoying the movie when it was more censored. And I didn't stop liking it when it became the vampire movie we all know about from the trailer.
Yeah.
But I do wonder how I would have felt about it had I not known about that in the trailer.
Yeah.
Because that's been a large complaint with a lot of movies for me, is loving the first 2 acts, and then you taking a hard left to go usually spiritual or monsterish in the third act and not really landing it. And I think this, even if I hadn't known that ahead of time, I think this probably was still one of the better versions of those.
Yeah.
For its third act.
There's a good chance it would have lost me because I did like the first half a lot, or however long that was.
Yeah.
And so even knowing that there was the vampire stuff, I like halfway through, I went, isn't there vampires gonna be in this movie? Like, am I crazy? Like, I feel like this is supposed to be going somewhere else. And so it's like, you kind of forgot even though you knew. And then 2, when the vampire stuff does start going, I'm like, this does feel like such an abrupt turn in both style and plot and all of these things. And I think if I hadn't known it was coming and wasn't ready for it, I may have been put off by it. But because I was ready for it, I was like, and here we go, you know?
It would have been a really sharp twist. And I could think of some movies that have really crazy twists that are just completely out there.
Like
Cabin in the Woods or
sure.
the one, the one where Keith Stanfield is playing the
I was just
call
about to
operator.
say sorry to bother you.
Yeah, sorry
that
to
was the
bother
one
you.
I was waiting for you to finish your sentence.
I
and
couldn't
say
remember.
sorry to bother
I
you.
couldn't remember the name.
And that works perfectly because I know people that still didn't like it because it went so crazy. But I'm like, that's when I was like, holy shit, I love this.
I love that, and especially Cabin in the Woods too, as I feel has a similar vibe ending wise to that, and I like that. Usually when it's those horror films where it sets up really great, really creepily, and then you have to actually get to the monster, and it's like, why that was a choice.
Yeah,
there.
or you're building up so well, and then the monster just can't live up to it.
Yeah,
and it was interesting to me because, like I said, it's very self-serious until it gets to the horror elements of this movie, and then it goes 1980s cheesy horror, and you're like, that feels like a weird choice. I don't want to say I disliked it, but it like took readjusting of expectations multiple times to get through this movie. So not a perfect movie, but it is very enjoyable throughout.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is just, I love the cast. I mean, a lot of them were, to us at least, unknowns. The Sammy character, Preacher Boy, was an unknown entirely, but like, I mean, aside from Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld, a lot of the people like, oh, I've seen them somewhere, I think, but I don't know where, is like how most of the cast is.
Yeah, there was more than a few recognizable faces for me, but not people I can place by names, like Cornbread. I've seen him around a bunch, a few other people, but the switch up with the vampires, I definitely felt that as well. But I think it worked a bit better that they started introducing the vampires a little earlier than the third act. Because if they had just dropped in, it was definitely the second, but like, if they had just dropped into the third act with just introducing that would have been really. It
was funny because during the scene when they did introduce them for the first time, I remember thinking, what are we doing? Like, this seems so out of place. And then I was like, oh, right, it's the plot. And because I had forgotten, like, literally, I had forgotten where the movie was going. And I had to remember, oh, right, the whole reason I came to watch this movie was because vampires look cool. Like, this movie looked so cool. And I was like, I want to, and then you forget about it. The whole reason you were there, you forgot. You're like just enjoying what it was, which was something so different. But yeah, of course, Ryan Coogler, him being the filmmaker and writer that he has been, this movie is a political commentary as well. So I thought the commentary was intriguing. I think it's definitely going to, obviously, as all political commentaries do, piss off certain people. But I mean, I liked it. I thought it was, for the most part, good.
I'm trying to think of how much was going to piss off people here. This doesn't feel like one of the more divisively preachy ones that I've seen.
Well, it depends on how much you read into it, because you could definitely interpret it as white people are evil.
I like to interpret it as white people of the time were evil.
Yeah, I don't.
Not all.
We'll get into it in spoilers, but I think it's more than that. But yes, we'll get into that in spoilers. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I think it's weird because, like we were saying, the pre-vampire stuff I may have liked that section more, and then I did enjoy the vampire stuff. But then the actual ending, like the last 2 scenes, maybe 3 scenes if we're counting something in the credits. Maybe there's something in the credits. I don't know. He's directed for Marvel. I don't know. He's Force of Habit, I guess. I think was actually my favorite part. So it was like, I really liked it. I still liked it, but a little bit less. And then the best part was at the end. So it was interesting for me seeing that. It was just an unusual arc I wasn't expecting. Like, I was expecting either I'm going to like it more or less when the vampires come into play, and then that's just the fact of it, you know?
I kind of figured I'd like it less when they started to roll in, just because I have a fear of third acts nowadays. Not a fear, but like...
PTSD?
Yeah, I just expect it to just start dropping. Yeah. And this, a little bit, but I agree with you. Those final scenes, those were very good.
Yeah, best
and
part.
Especially that ending scene with the credits. I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah.
I did like how that wrapped up there.
I knew that there was a post-credit scene.
I didn't hear that.
But I was like, I had no expectation for what it was going to be. And so because it's not really fully a post-credit scene, because it's like playing during the credits and then pauses the credits to be like, all right, here's the scene.
Yeah, it was
and
like
then,
30 seconds into the credits, and they start like telling you, oh, no, don't leave.
Yeah, so it was kind of a weird way to do that, but like I said, old habits die hard, I guess. You've worked for Marvel, you're like, yeah, credits.
Hey, people are used to it now.
I really liked that, but my favorite part was right before then. I don't know how to say this without spoilers. The wrap-up where we see, the other characters being introduced, and
the good friends came to town, and
the friends, and then the relatives. Yeah,
had a nice visit there.
It really popped off. That was my favorite scene.
Probably my favorite scene, but that's a little easy for me at times. Like, you just do that, I'm a cheer, I'm a feel great about it.
What exactly, Justin?
Oh, come on.
Do what?
Listen. You're not gonna get me feel bad about that.
All right. We need to get into spoilers. But what we will say is, it is a good time. It is masterfully directed. I really, like I said, I really enjoy the cast. You want to hear some nitpicks? Here's some nitpicks. I thought the lighting was weird. You could barely see people's faces half the time. It was kind of weird. It was like the lighting department had never worked with black people before, which is ironic considering I think they were all black. And then, like I said, there was that one weird scene in the middle that I just didn't, I don't know, click with. Like, it didn't work for me. But aside from those two little nitpicks, I thought this was very good. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
I think I know what scene you're talking about in the middle.
The one where I audibly said, "What the fuck are we doing?"
Yeah, okay.
That scene.
I agree with you. That one confused me, and I think was a little better explained in the little.
Oh, I understood it. I just didn't like the execution.
I got part of it, but there was we'll get there.
Yeah.
But my one nitpick, I will say, when it comes to various
white people died.
Spiritual. The right amount died. Okay? Not zero, but the right amount. And the right ones, too. But I will say, when it comes to various movies and sometimes final fights, just a little... I'm too logical in fights as an adult. Like, I can't just sit there and go, what the hell? How are you guys? There's just like, okay, they're gonna... I don't want to say it exactly, but... They're gonna let you get away with this? Is like, y'all shouldn't really be doing this right now. I get I'm supposed to accept it, but it was the first half of that was a little hard for me.
I glossed over that, but yeah, that was pretty silly. And like I said, everything with the second half of this movie, or it's not half, but that second section of the movie is silly. Like I say, it goes for 1980s cheesy horror, and so you kind of just have to roll with that. But yeah, there was some parts that I'm like, it's not only silly fun, it's also kind of silly stupid at times. But,
a little bit.
Yeah, so 7.5.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, 7.5.
7.5. All right. That's what we had to think. We are going to get into spoilers. I'm sure that section will be a lot longer than that first section. We did enjoy it, so if you want to go see it before we talk about spoilers, please click away. Go watch it, come back, and we can talk about it then. But don't forget to like, share, follow, review, subscribe. Forgive us for the last couple of videos if the audio sucked. Thanks, guys. Bye. So, spoilers. Yeah, so let's just talk about the weird thing first, and then we can move on to everything else.
Yep.
So, I don't disagree with the concept, nor the idea. It's just the execution was weird because, essentially... one of the whole pillars of this movie, driving forces of this movie, is that when you're really good at music, it attracts the devil for some reason. They don't really explain why, it's a thing. Because it connects you to the afterlife in general, it connects you to your ancestors, and that attracts evil because I guess it's just...
I guess it can be
It's attractive, I guess. I don't know. And so during the scene where Sammy is playing the guitar, you then start seeing all of his ancestors, I guess his ancestors, people throughout time.
See, I don't even think it's his ancestors. I think it's just musical connection throughout time.
Yeah, so just throughout time, like you see people from ancient Africa and so on. I don't remember who else in the past was there, but other people from the past. And then they say, and it can even connect you to the future. And then there's just some really silly, cheesy futuristic guitar player guy. Maybe he was from the 80s. I don't know when he was from.
I forgot to look him up.
And then after that, then they start like bringing in, I guess, 1990s to 2000s era, maybe even back as far as the 80s, hip hop, which was also just cheesy to me. And I'm like, I get what you were going for. You're saying that the language of music is universal. It crosses time, it crosses space, it crosses universes, even to reach the afterlife and the devil and all of that. I get what you're saying,
right?
But the execution was cheesy as hell.
See, and I agree with you that I understood that it connected. I guess it's connecting you to the spiritual world, which of course comes with the opportunity for devils to interfere as well. And usually hear that sort of thing when it comes to any inexperienced person dealing with the spiritual world.
Right.
I got that. The time threw me off, and then the mashup of the music just wasn't pleasing to the ears. I understood the concept and understood how it attracted the three vampires.
I just didn't like it.
It was not I didn't think it was the greatest execution there. No, I didn't think so. It was an interesting idea, but I didn't think it was the greatest execution, no.
I agree. Now, to the political commentary and why, I think there's probably, I'm reading into it more than you, or you would understand why I think it will piss off some people. So this plot, like we said, music attracts the devil.
Right.
Good music does.
Yep.
Why does the devil want it? Well, the devil wants it for their own. They love it and they want it for their own, and they want to take it and use it for their own. The devil in this case is white. So the white devil hears the black music and tries to steal the music, steal the culture, and use it for their own, because the black people are too powerful and too successful. So the white devil wants to take it for their own.
No, I can see that.
And so a lot of the commentary there was also about unifying and being one-minded. So we're all under one mind. We're getting rid of the black culture because we want to get rid of that. We want to have I keep saying we. The white devil wants to...
The white devil.
The bad guys, the vampires in this movie, which are a version of the devil, want to take these black people, and even the white people that align with the black people, brainwash them so they all think and feel the same way, use their music but take the soul out of it,
right,
and control everybody. So, obviously, that is something that I understand that commentary and agree with parts of that commentary, because that's something that does happen.
We all know history.
You take and mass produce. Elvis is more popular than fucking everybody from that era, but like B.B. King, he stole his shit, and he gets more popular because he's white. Eminem takes hip-hop and becomes the most successful artist in hip-hop until Drake, because he's white and so more accessible, yada yada yada. So it's like, I get that. I think where it's gonna piss people off is like, there's certain aspects of like unifying people, and we should all come together and have the same mindset and like culture. Like, there's certain people that believe that independent culture or independent like race, each race's culture, like the point is like melting pot, we don't need, and it's like, so some people will see them saying, no, we want our own independent culture, and say that that's bad, because I think that it's harder for white Americans who don't have a very strong culture to realize that cultures matter to minorities a lot more, and so they say, get rid of all culture like it's a good thing. And then minorities hear that and go, you're trying to get rid of our history? They also get into religion too and say how that religion is forced onto people, and especially like, because it wasn't the black man's religion, it was a white man's religion, which isn't true. The Christianity came from the Middle East. It wasn't a white man religion, but I guess... Right,
but the African slaves that were brought over originally weren't Christians, so... Yeah.
Regardless. It didn't originate with white people, though, is my point. But regardless, so it's like... And then it was also... There was a really cool line in there about how it was like, even though I hate that we were given this religion, there are some parts of it that I still really love and bring me peace. And I was like, that's cool. That's interesting. I was really curious where I was going to go with the religion, and then it kind of dropped it, actually.
It went in a somewhat interesting but unexpected, and I still feel a little unexplored way.
Yeah, I agree.
It was just pretty abrupt, although I kind of liked how it wrapped up. I just wish there would have been a little
I think probably what I was trying to say is that, like, religion is maybe not always, but still is part of, the man's control. Because, like, at the end, when he goes back to the church, he's like, just drop the guitar, just drop it. And then it's like, he starts remembering all the good things music did for him. And he's like, no, I still love this. And, like, understand that it led to these bad things. But it was like, the music didn't cause the bad things. It just attracted bad things to me. So he's like, I still want to be in the music because there's great things there. And so, yeah, it's kind of, that part is vague in comparison to the rest of it. But I still really enjoyed that aspect of the commentary too.
Yeah.
That is also, though, something that's going to piss off people when you start saying religion is about control. So that's what I mean when I say that the commentary in this movie is going to piss off some people.
I can definitely see some of the religious commentary pissing off people. I guess the racial one.
The racial stuff too.
It is funny because when you say you have people on one side who feel more of, especially like white Americans feel like more of get rid of culture because we're a little disconnected from culture. I don't know, maybe it's just because how much time I spend online and with, I work a job where I just need a lot of noise in my background all day, basically. So I'll just...
White noise, maybe?
Sometimes. I mean, honestly, I probably do listen to more white people.
Black noise.
Listen, we're not talking about music choices right now. We're talking the people I listen to on YouTube, okay?
My girlfriend in college, she would go to sleep listening to, like, a noise machine.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, so white noise? And she's like, no, actually, I use brown noise. And I was like, and I laughed. And she was like, no, I'm serious. There's different color noises. And I was like, what's the difference between white noise and brown noise? And she goes, brown noise is softer, white noise is just sharper and more irritating. I'm like, okay.
Is it? Kind of up in your face, huh? But yeah, what I was saying on before was, I guess...
I'm going to have to edit this video a lot, aren't I?
Yeah, you definitely we were focused and then we went way right. I guess most of the white Americans I listen to, well, not most, but a lot of the people I hear online, it's always that Western culture. It may not be a direct, Irish, Italian, outside of the people who claim Anglo-Saxon. They claim that shit hard as fuck.
Yeah, I think it's more performative though when you hear people be like, well, I'm Irish on my mom's side. It's like, oh, what? So you drink beer? Like they
hey, I'm Irish on my dad's side.
Yeah, I know, but
like Keenans.
You don't do anything about it. Neither do I.
No, because nobody on my side of the family knows anything about Irish. We're more Austrian than we are Irish, and nobody does anything Austrian. Yeah, that too. My grandpa's Barbadian, my grandma's Grenadian. I've never heard them mention their home countries ever once.
I mean, it depends. Like, it depends. Like, so for me, when I like, okay, so I'm 50% British because my dad's side of the family is 100%
Anglo-Saxon.
But it's like, I'm not like, oh yes, I love tea and crumpets. Like, I'm just like, I'm an American. I eat pizza and burgers like the rest of us. I'm more proud of the fact that I'm from Philly than anything. Like, I'll talk shit about the rest of the states in comparison to Philly. Hell, I'll talk shit on Pittsburgh because fuck them, But like, if you talk about like, oh, what's your ancestry? I'm like, yeah, I guess British, and like, I'm also German and French and Irish and Native American, all of these things, but I'm not. The only Native American thing, by the way, that ever happened was because my mom's side, like, that's where it comes from. And so got me like genuine like moccasins. So I was like, that was a cool gift, but like, it's not like I was going like, guess what, guys? I own this country. I own this land. Cause like, I didn't like.
Please go out there, start telling the white man to give you back your country, your people's land, please.
But like, so like, that's what I'm saying though. It's like, I think that's something where it's like, goddamn, white privilege, where we don't have to care about our culture because it's not important, because we're the majority. When you go, and it depends on the minorities, like you said, you don't really care to, or don't like talk about it or think about it that much, I guess.
Right.
But like, when I, for instance, I brought up that girlfriend earlier, they were like first generation or maybe second generation from Mexico, and they care so much about their culture and stuff. So it's like, depending on who you talk to, it can be a really important thing, and that's not a bad thing. And I think, I a lot of people in their fight to get rid of racism say like, oh, well, you should stop caring about the individual culture pockets or whatever. And it's like, yes and no. We should all be unified and think we're all equal. And, I hate the whole thing about like, oh, you're stealing from our culture. Like, fuck it. Take what, like, we get burritos, you get pizza, whatever.
I don't mind cultural exchange, appropriation, is annoying. No, I'm not talking like hairstyles. I always heard that thing.
Yeah.
The white people with braids. Fuck.
Hey, Vikings had braids.
Whatever. Wear your braids. Who gives? We can talk about the traditional shit.
I'm not wearing braids.
My annoyance, and where I understand why it definitely is constantly brought up and
Vanilla
constantly.
Ice.
Well, that too, but like the predatory managerial systems, the predatory record systems, the predatory musicians occasionally, the producers, the whole industry that was formed around this black art that was then stolen.
Right.
Maybe not completely directly, but the profits of it were stolen.
Right.
For and
Muhammad.
foregoing the ability
film podcast. I can't keep it too serious. You know, you gotta break in with some dumb shit every once in a while. No, I 100% agree. I was just trying to give multiple perspectives on why people agree or disagree, and some will be offended and others won't. That's all I was trying to say. I was kind of expecting Ryan Coogler to have commentary in there. I was surprised, though, exactly where it came from, because I was expecting Haley Steinfeld to be a vampire from the beginning, and so it was just like, the white woman thing, like the white devil, the white she-devil was kind of what I was expecting, and it was just like, don't you marry or mess around with a white woman. That's what I was expecting the commentary to be.
I did not expect Haley, so in this, Haley Steinfeld's character is half black, and...
No. Her mother is, her
father is half black.
So she's a quarter, or something.
She's quarter black, but she's very, very white. Well, I mean, she's white in real life.
She got the cheekbones, I guess. She never asked to be white.
Listen,
I didn't want to be white. I wanted to be with you.
Listen.
The most romantic thing any black man's ever heard.
You don't know what it's like to grow up around other people of just the other race, basically. You don't know.
Fuck you. I grew up in Lansdowne. Everybody's black. What do you mean?
I only went to Lansdowne schools until 3rd grade, man.
I was a minority growing up. What are you talking about?
When I went to 4th grade, there was 3 black kids. Me, this one other girl that was this girl that was there 1 grade below me for 1 year, and a kindergartner.
Yeah, well, you went to Catholic school.
I didn't choose that.
I like this movie, especially the last KKK member to get shot up, because like I was praying that was exactly what was going to happen. For context, they're sold, they think, this like old mill that they're going to turn into this nightclub, but then it turns out that it was sold by like the head of the KKK.
He's a grand wizard.
Yeah. And their plan was to then show up in the morning and kill them. And so they find out about this plan. And so he sets an ambush for the KKK when they show up. And it's just him taking out all of them. And he's doing it in grand style. He's got a sniper. Then he fucking picks up the sniper. He's just walking with it, which was crazy. And then he's got a Tommy gun. He's got grenades. All this shit. It's great. But then he finally gets one shot to the gut. So he sees that one guy, the head guy, is shot but still alive, crawling away. So he goes over to kill him, but the blood loss has gotten to him, so he falls on his ass. And he turns because he hears a baby crying, and it's his ex-wife and their deceased baby there. And she's saying, if you put out the cigarette, I'll let you hold the baby. And so he's completely like, he doesn't care about that guy at all anymore. So he's like, okay. And he goes to get the baby and hold the baby, and then the guy says something. I forget what he says, but he distracts him. So he looks back at him.
Oh, he's like, I got money.
Like a Tarantino style, like the end of Inglourious Bastard, shoots him, and then grabs the baby. And that was, to me, my favorite part of the movie by far. Not only because of the shooting the guy a million times was great, but the visual of seeing, like, going to the afterlife in that beautiful way where it's like, once again, it's not saying like spiritualism doesn't exist, it's just saying religion is often predatory. And so it's like there's still some sort of afterlife, there's something there. It's not trying to explain what it is, but it's like here he is reunited in that, as he's meeting them in the afterlife. And it's like that was such a beautiful scene mixed with this great visceral moment that I loved.
Yeah, no, that final scene definitely had me feeling Inglourious Basterds vibes as well.
Yes.
As for the seeing his ex-wife and child in the afterlife. I thought that was a nice wrap up there because, like you said, it's not just, I don't know if attack's the right word, but attack on religion, or a statement against religion in a way,
Right.
because there is this spirituality in here, and it's
devils
it's
and-
voodoo essentially.
Yeah.
It's like older spiritualities from some of the various locations that slaves were held and from where they came. That
like
voodoo culture you hear.
Louisiana style. Yeah.
And so she had been praying for one of the twins. I can't. Don't ask me to name.
Yeah,
the
it's
twins.
Smoke and Stack, which is silly.
Ones on ones.
Kind of gloss past that.
The last one to die was married to her. So
Yeah. It also really confused me at one point, and I guess because I just forgot about it, and it does make sense. But at one point, so Haley Steinfeld, after she's been turned into a vampire, goes in to seduce and then bite the one brother. And he goes, "What are you trying to do?" And so I was like, "Oh, it's the wrong brother." And then she goes, "Oh, don't worry about it." Like, he's like, "But you're not mine to have." And he looks up at his brother when he says it. So I'm like, "Oh, so it's the..." But then it's not. And the reason he says that is because she is married, which was alluded to earlier. But like, I was just like so convinced that it was the other brother for so long, and then it wasn't. I was like, what the fuck is going on for about half an hour there? But I figured it out. It was confusing though.
I will say I was not confused nearly as long as you. I was probably confused for about 2 minutes. But when he looked up, I also thought it was the wrong brother.
Yeah.
And then when they went back, I was like, okay, I guess he just was like, that's the stricter brother. And he'd probably be mad about him going off to fuck instead of, taking care of the place because, they need to be there to take care of the place.
Yeah.
So, like, I figured that was the case, but, like, I agree with you. It was confusing there. But, like, back to the wife and the kid for a second there. Mm-hmm. I had liked it because when she had been praying for her brother, the one she was married to the whole time, or in the past.
Reword that.
I don't know how to describe.
She was
the twins.
married to a twin.
One of the twins.
One of the twins.
Yeah,
yes.
the one that
It's
lived
not
until the
her
end.
brother.
You know what I mean? She had one of the brothers. Okay.
Still rough, but all right.
That's why I like it. But,
Oh God.
she.
I almost opened the door and walked out.
I would have accepted that. Continued on without you. But she's also the person that figures out that there's monsters attacking them.
Yeah.
At first she thinks they're haints, which I don't know how to describe haints, but then she realizes they're vampires and she knows all the ways to fight vampires from her stuff.
Yeah.
But she makes her lover, Michael B. Jordan character, to promise her that if she's ever bitten, that he'll take her out and set her free before she changes.
Right, because she's got someone waiting for her. Yeah.
And then she'll be there with the kid for him. As before he takes her out, she says, "I'll see you soon."
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
it was a real nice touch actually seeing them reunited. She's breastfeeding the child. He gets to hold his kid in his arms because you don't know how old the kid was when the kid died.
Yeah.
Very young, seemingly.
Something that I'm doubling down on the evils of marrying white women, because he's the good one. He's got a traditional black woman, and he got a happy afterlife. Meanwhile, the other brother marries a white woman, and he's doomed for eternity. This is commentary, I swear it is. You don't fuck with white women.
Hey, but she's doomed with him for eternity. So
Okay, she's a devil woman. She was doomed anyway.
She's quarter black. It was good enough for the slave owners. It's good enough for Michael B. Jordan's character. That's always my thing about the 116th. It's like, if it was good enough for them, that should be good enough.
Oh, I thought you were saying white woman was good.
No, she's quarter black. She's in. She's down.
I misunderstood what you were saying about good enough. Jesus Christ. That's why I tell you, I don't fuck with white women. I don't do it. They're evil. They'll drag you down. Now, Latinas may beat you up. That can also happen, but they won't take you to hell. To be fair, the craziest girl I ever dated was a black girl.
Same with my dad.
Your mom?
No, very much not. About the white women. Get you a quarter black.
No, she's evil. She was probably lying about that, though. Let's be honest. Like, hey, you know I'm a quarter black, right? I can say it. I'm allowed to say it. I'm a quarter black.
She got the pass.
I loved how, because, like, speaking of saying it, the N-word is said a lot in this movie, obviously, by mostly black characters.
Yeah.
But when the KKK guys show up and they're all piling out of the car, you distinctly hear somebody say it, but I was looking around and none of them were talking. So somebody dubbed that line in and didn't want to be seen saying it. And so I was like, do you think there really was a white guy, or was it like a black guy doing a white voice to say it?
I'm gonna guess it was just a white guy who was like, just I'll do the voice, but let's not credit me here.
Don't show me.
Put me in a crowd.
I'll say it.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'll say it. I just don't want to be caught.
Because the first white guy turned into a vampire. I guess he's the first guy turned into a vampire in the movie, because the original guy is already a vampire.
Yeah.
When he shows up. He said it.
Yeah,
he went full chest. So we salute you.
I don't. I do not.
Listen.
You're allowed to.
As long as you just.
I cannot touch that.
Half of me salutes you.
Which half? Which half, Justin?
Well, that's a deep question right there.
I did not expect this to go quite this off the rails.
Me neither. I actually had things to talk about in that movie.
Me too. I was like preemptively tired because I was like, oh, I've got so much I need to talk about with this movie. And we've talked about half of it, maybe.
Just somewhat. Like we've talked about most of the fighting that happened at the barn.
Yeah.
And that one musical scene.
I loved how, because my thought when they found the guy lying on the ground and threw him out, my thought was like, vampires weren't biting people in here, just the one guy. So I was like, who was that guy and why? How did he die? Did he get shot? Like, what happened? And then they're like, was that blood? And they check it, it's liquor or something, and or wine. It must have been. Wait, no. What it was like? It was Italian. What Italian?
They had Italian wine,
Yeah,
and
so
they had
it must have been wine.
Irish beer.
Yeah, Irish beer and Italian wine. So they had just a puddle of wine that he was in, and then they go grab him, and then as they're about to grab him, he gets grabbed by a vampire.
Oh gosh,
dude, the amount of time they spent just outside the door pissed me off in this movie. I was like, just go inside.
Yeah, that one scene where they threw him out was wild.
Yeah.
I honestly, that scene, for the briefest of moments, made me forget that Sammy was safe. That I knew Sammy was safe.
Yeah.
It made me, I was like, somebody has to get hit here.
Because you see, the movie starts with him going to the church, and then everything else is a flashback. So you know he's not dead.
Right.
But you're right.
We see the scratch, so he clearly gets
completely forget
attacked.
about that in that moment. He's just like, get inside. Like, also, when they're paying the guy, I was like, just throw the money on the ground.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I can't remember how many exact vampire films I've seen in recent years. I mean, there was the ballerina thing, but...
Right.
Other than that, I missed most of the Twilights. I didn't watch any of the... I unfortunately missed that. I'll see it one time, but...
Just once.
Yeah. I have to say, this stuck very firm to the classical rules of vampires. I really liked it, especially you have to give me permission to enter.
Rules, yeah. Because the vampires dying when they're in the sunlight is actually a very recent rule. That's from Nosferatu. It wasn't the case before that. So
Really?
that rule's only like 100 years old.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
But like they had the garlic, they had the wooden stakes. The silver was the only thing where I was like, I get that these guns are gonna have silver in them now. I assume that's what that was supposed to be.
I think they were just like, you get any silver, but do we have any? Like, I don't know. This will slow them down. It won't kill them. But I don't think they actually killed any of them with bullets.
But that's the thing.
They just knocked them down.
And okay, so then let's get to that, because a lot of what happened in the barn was great, right? And then Haley Steinfeld's character, she goes outside. The three white vampires show up, pretending to be regular people. She starts to see the one guy drooling. He starts to turn red eye on her.
That drool was fun.
Yeah.
Especially when it came back later. And he's like, you're drooling. And she's like, you want some? Oh.
And then she spits in his mouth.
I changed my mind. That was the best scene.
That was great.
I like that a lot.
Because I thought they were just going to kiss, and then she just straight up spits in his mouth. Yo. She gets attacked. So she's walking back, and the vampire jumps up into the air and like pounces on her. And
dude, I loved how it was building up, and like, because they're not just jumping, they're flying. Like, they're floating. Yeah. And so she's walking back, and it just like, you just see him take off. Yeah. And right as it takes off, it cuts away. And I was like, oh, like, if it had stayed on him and he was flying, you wouldn't go,
No,
you'd go
that'd be a little cheesy.
like, interesting, okay. But like the fact that it cut right once he goes,
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God, like it makes you jump. That was really well done.
No, I agree. That was definitely really well done. But so she goes back in. She eventually turns the one of the twins that she's
Right.
been in the relationship with, and from then on, they release the party. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So now everybody, presumably from the party, is now turned into a vampire. One weird thing about the vampires is they seem to all share everybody's memories.
Yeah.
It's like a hive mind sort of situation.
Collective mind.
Yeah, which is interesting. I don't know if I've seen that in other vampire stories before.
No, that was purely for the commentary aspect.
So they know.
He spoke Chinese, which I thought it was hilarious that the Chinese lady called it Chinese. Like, oh, he spoke Chinese? Do you not know the name of your own language?
No, it's Chinese, man. They're gonna say Mandarin and what? People in the comments are gonna be like, "What, an orange? He spoke orange? How do you do that?"
People in the comments like this is a YouTube video.
Come on. She gets so mad at one point that she invites them all in, and it's a showdown between like the 6 people inside
Yeah,
and the 40 vampires outside.
right.
And
That was silly.
yeah, the scene was kind of silly. There was a lot of good individual moments in the scene, but it's very much one of those, okay, let's all trickle in 3 at a time so that they can, kill most of us. I was occasionally confused by their strength, what they were going for on like the vampire strength level. Until the jump at Haley Steinfeld, it made me feel like these vampires were practically human.
Yeah,
had-
I don't know. Did they have super strength at any point?
When you start jumping around and
I
stuff,
thought they were just flying.
I guess maybe that could be it. Like, because like we never focused on their flight long enough
Yeah.
to figure out if it was flight or just really powerful jump. But
Well, I mean, he floated down. Because the one time you do see a full flight path is like that last scene when he's running into the lake, and you're like, "Woo!" It's not like
Yeah, true.
It's kind of slow,
yeah, so I guess it probably is flight.
or levitation or something.
But it just made me feel like, oh, these must be really strong. And then whenever they get into a conflict with a human,
Yeah, they
they're
didn't seem
very,
particularly
They're very
strong.
regular people.
Yeah.
They just can fly, I guess, and
Yeah. You know what else was really cool too with like them following the rules? Because like it's subtle enough at first about like the trying to get permission to come in, but my favorite use of that actually is to mislead you at the very beginning of the movie. You see the first part of Sammy going like pulling up to the church and walking in. He has to be invited in, and so you're like, oh, is he a vampire? Because you see the wound, you don't know what's happened yet, so you're like, oh, is he a vampire? And they just can exist in daylight. 'Cause some
Yeah.
can. And so I was like, oh, is he already a vampire? And then you go through the whole thing, and you're like, well, vampires can't exist in the light, so he can't be a vampire at the end. But it still is a cool mislead at the beginning.
no, I definitely have heard of the vampires that can walk in the lights, and I don't know if this was just South Park or not, but Daywalkers. I don't know if they just made that up for gingers, but we'll get because he walked in the daytime, I just immediately instinctively thought he wasn't, but I probably should have
Yeah.
thought about the possibility of vampires that can survive in the daylight, but yeah, no. It would have been a better fake out for me if I had thought about that, but I was just like, oh, okay, I guess he survived because he just walked out the car to the daytime to the church, and I don't see any smoke.
Yeah, that was cool too. It's like when the first vampire does show up and like his back is burning, like there's acid on it, and he's like, "Oh, I got attacked," and so you already, it's like, yeah, he's a vampire, but it's like it's a cool like you think, oh well, maybe he was attacked and they threw acid on him.
And that was the thing, because I didn't catch the whole when he first entered the church, he had to be invited in because he walked out the daytime. But the first time we see the white vampire show up to the couple's house, the KKK couple,
Once again, it's subtle.
he's burning.
Yeah.
Right? So that made me think, oh, okay, vampire getting chased out of the daylight, and he had to stop and be invited in. I thought that was a great touch there.
Yeah.
Trying to convince them, you gotta let me in. I got gold. Hey, you can keep this. I'm just getting attacked by these Wichita Indians. Just don't let them hurt me anymore.
Yeah.
And he really was getting chased, at least, by the Wichita
And they were
Indians.
trying to kill him. Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't lie.
I loved it when they're like, please tell me you didn't let him into your house already. If you do, we need to act right now.
Yeah. They're like looking at the sun, like, "Yep, and okay, bye."
They were lost cause. I guess so. Sorry, folks.
Yeah.
Shit.
It seemed going back to the Native American, the indigenous religion thing, also, and then comparing that to like we said with the voodoo or whatever it was with the other lady. It seems very much like I was saying before. It's not anti-spirituality. It's very open and even pro-spirituality. It just seems like the organized religion aspect is where it's like, we don't like that. And
The white man's religion.
I'm telling you, we didn't make it. It was forced upon us too, okay? Just a long time before.
You definitely enjoyed forcing it upon the rest of the world later on.
How did that even become? Was that from the Crusades? That must have no, because the Crusade. Like, I'm trying to figure out why the UK would, or all of Europe would be so. Because I mean, it must have come from like
I think the Romans.
So the Holy Roman Empire did it.
Essentially, yeah. One time they converted to Christianity, and they still own most of Europe.
Yeah.
The Germanic tribes were eventually taken down.
It wasn't our fault.
Listen. You know how many white people claim Roman ancestry and shit?
I don't. I said I was British.
The ideal code. I still remember those videos going around for a while. How often does your boyfriend or husband spend a week thinking about the Roman Empire?
I think about the Roman Empire too. That doesn't make me Roman. I'm allowed to think about things I'm not.
See, this is why I had to consider. Like, maybe this is why I don't think about the Roman Empire a lot. I was like, one of my best friends, Joe. I'm like, Joe, you're white. How often do you think of this? Before I even ask the question, I'm like, wait a second, this is my history friend. Of course he thinks about it all the damn time.
Yeah. No, I just like to think about empires because we're in one that is collapsing. So I think about other empires that collapsed.
Hey.
That's why I think about it.
If we're going to collapse, we'll fracture into states again. We're not going to get invaded like that.
That's not what I'm worried about, Justin. That's not the part that I'm thinking about.
As much as like the beginning of the movie was pretty interesting with the brothers showing up to town, seeing how kind of much of a legend they are in the town.
I love that part when he shot the two guys.
Oh my gosh. Just pulls out, shoots him straight in the ass. Just perfect. I'm aiming at your ass. So the young kid's backed away and he's got his hands up. Michael B. Jordan kneecaps him. Because he's like, I can't have anyone saying they got one over on me, or they almost got one over on me.
And got away without any nicks. Yeah. And so he just shoots him, and then he's like,
kneecaps him.
He's like, all right, get over there. And so the other guy's like, yeah, all right, move. And he's like, move! I need help! I need help! And he's like already walking away, so the camera is following him. You just hear this in the background. I've said it before, I'm such a sucker for funny lines being said in the background. He's like, I need help!
Oh gosh. But like, that didn't really keep up. Of course the reputation did, but that just wasn't nearly as important to the story as it seemed like it might have been.
Yeah. I will say also, in comparison to like the Alto Knights or something, I thought Michael B. Jordan did a really good job of playing two characters because they were very similar because they're twin brothers,
right. But
there were subtle differences in how they do it. It kind of reminded me of Tom Hardy in Legend. Those two characters are even more different because it's once again the, calm, collected leader type and then the loose handle, crazy one.
Right.
This one's the same thing but much more subtly, and I thought he did a really good job of playing both characters in a believable way, even to the point of at a certain point I forgot kind of that I was the same guy doing both. Now obviously if I had just thought about it I would be like, yeah, duh, he's not like in makeup or anything, they're twin brothers, they're supposed to look exactly the same,
right? And
so they do. But I was just like, at first whenever I see the same actor playing two characters, I'm always watching like when they're handing each other stuff and like I'm looking really close to see like, oh, did they mess up? So I'm doing that at first. Quickly just left that behind and was like, this acting's really good. I think Michael B. Jordan is great. He's one of my favorite actors working right now. I think he's awesome, and this is, I think, probably now my new favorite role by him. I thought he was really good.
I'd have to look back at his roles, because it'd probably still be one of the Creeds for me.
Yeah,
it's his favorite role for me, but like, he really has been on a crazy run. Even if the movies aren't insane, He's always very good in them.
Yeah.
And he is so in demand.
It's a good thing he was never in a Fantastic Four movie. That would be a really
my
bad
gosh.
decision. I don't know. I feel like we could keep talking about this, but we've also already said a lot. It's good. You should go watch it. You should go see it. It is equal parts artsy and cool and also silly and fun.
Yeah.
With great acting, great chemistry between said actors. Whether you recognize their face or not, they're all good. Except for maybe one little Asian girl.
She was merciful. She had a mercifully short role.
Very short. Great directing. The script, even though it is something you've seen before, is done in a unique and fun way. Also, like I said, the commentary adds a new element there that's a lot of fun too. So I overall, like I said, I really enjoy it. Like we already said, 7.5. It's good. It's really good.
Yeah, I agree. Very good. You're a fan of Michael B. Jordan. You're a fan of, I'm going to screw up his name, Ryan Coogler? Coogler, right.
Like
Ryan
Cougar.
Ryan
That's how he
Coogler.
got the job as Black Panther director. He's like, my name's pretty much a cougar anyway. That's what a panther is. It's a cougar, right? Hire me, right?
Well, listen. Do I have a video for you on the complicated world of cats? And why a panther and
Coogler
other
didn't
things?
direct Fruitvale Station, did he? Because now I'm questioning everything. I was about to say this was his best movie, and then I went, wait, did he do Fruitvale Station? That may have been why he got that job, actually. He did. This is his second best movie. I take everything I said back. That was the movie that also, like, got Michael B. Jordan famous. He was already famous, but, like, that was his breakthrough role.
I don't know if I saw that.
You've never seen it?
Don't think so. I mean, the name sounds familiar, but
It's really good.
no, I did not see it.
It's got an 85%.
Oh, he didn't direct Creed 2. He just...
Really? Oh, I thought... Did Michael B. Jordan direct both 2 and 3?
I could have sworn he...
I thought he did, yeah.
Stephen Caple Jr.
Who the fuck is that?
He directed The Land, Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, and Creed 2. And he also was an uncredited
Different
writer for Creed 2.
Well,
The Land.
Creed 1 was definitely better than Creed 2. Anyway, yeah, Ryan Coogler hasn't made a bad movie yet. And I take back it being his best movie because I just remembered he did Fruitvale Station. But it's his best big budget movie, in my opinion. I mean, not to take anything away from Creed or the Black Panther movies, but I enjoyed this one more than both of those. So, yeah, I recommend it. It's a good time.
I definitely agree recommending it.
Yeah. All right. That's it. I'm tired. I have to
Bye.
edit this. Jesus Christ, I have to edit this. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Listening too, wherever you do it. Spotify, Apple Podcast.